Hello YouTubers and welcome aboard. I am NoobFlyboyX and welcome back to F1 2018 Career Mode. We're in Canada this time for round 7, the scene of my best finish last season. Hopefully we'll be able to replicate that today. We're hoping also to set ourselves up for that here in qualifying. There's our first time in Q1, a 1:11.4, so that's alright. Coming up to improve on that time hopefully, yep, and we do. It's a 1:11.1 this time at the end of qualifying 1, so that will get us easily through into Q2 in P5 at the time. Unfortunately, my teammate Lance Stroll is still out, but you know, the car's performance is still not great compared to others in the field. Here in Q2, we've gone for the alternate strategy with the harder compound tire. Unfortunately, that leaves us down in 14th as we get toward the end of the session. I head out once more to try to improve that time, but it has started raining by the time I actually go out. So it looks like I'm not going to be able to improve that time even with a little bit of rain falling. So that is where our qualifying comes to an end. It will be P14 in Canada.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, edging out Raikkonen, who'll start P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Bottas, Max Verstappen and Ricciardo, Grosjean, Sainz, Hulkenberg and Sergio Perez, Alonso, Leclerc, Kevin Magnussen, Iceman, Ocon, Stroll, Pierre Gasly and Brendan Hartley. Ericsson and Stoffel Van Dorn completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
Alright, so here we are looking at our strategy. Of course I went for that alternate with the purple striped, I think ultra soft tire, so we could have a longer first stint and only do one stop in the race today. Let's see if that pays off. Here we go to 5 red lights, and away we go. Magnussen and Leclerc in front of me have okay starts, but not great. Sergio Perez, though, has a flyer. No, Esteban Ocon, rather, has a flyer up my inside. He's wheel-to-wheel with me, and we've lost a place officially to him off the start. I'm trying to make that up here. Still wheel-to-wheel. I'm on the inside. Probably a tap with the tire there. He brakes a little earlier as we head into the chicane. More contact a little bit. It's kind of unavoidable going through there. It's pretty narrow. We head a little wide on that line and dive down the inside of Charles Leclerc as well. So now, oh no, he's still there right on our outside, but we've got a better line for accelerating, and there we've got him, at least for the time being. Might try to come back at us later. We're just about up to the back of Kevin Magnussen, but not quite. And there's Leclerc again, trying to send one to our inside into the next chicane there. But now we've got him covered off pretty well. We got a poor exit out of that corner because of his aggressive line. And so now we are able to start looking forward again towards the back of Kevin Magnussen, it looks like. So now that we're on the back of him, again, we can start making more aggressive moves, trying to get up the order early on in the race while the tires are still fresh in Magnussen's slipstream now. We have a little bit of extra fuel to play with, but I don't feel the need to go to rich revs just yet. But there we go, we've got him. So Jeff is telling me that we've gotten a good start there. But, you know, we've gained, I think that's a total of 2 places so far. Hopefully it'll be more soon as we head on to the remaining stages of the race here. First lap complete. Fernando Alonso, of course, is the next target in that McLaren just in front of us here. He's actually had some fairly good pace, but on the out of the hairpin on lap 2, we're behind him again, and that Renault engine is, of course, still not very good. In his slipstream, looks like he might actually, oh no, he's on the purple tires just like us, so we've got the same amount of grip levels, I think. But there we go, up as inside, into the chicane again, and the next Force India of Sergio Perez will be our next target. The Force India is fairly pacey around this track, though. It's good in a straight line with that the same Mercedes engine that we've got in the back of our Williams here. As we move on toward lap 3 into the hairpin at the back of the circuit, kind of the same location that we had our, you know, the greatest overtake of last season. There we go. We're up to the back of him a little bit, but not exactly just yet. Need to, you know, stay behind him for another lap still. This time, though, we send a very late lunge up the inside there. Have a bit of a tap with Hulkenberg as well. Squeeze Perez over toward the wall, too. But there we go, we've got him. And now with DRS active, we're able to get on Hulkenberg's tail. He's got DRS on the car in front of him as well, which is helping him a little bit, but not enough. There we go. Plunge later on the brakes, and make sure we keep it in the lines this time. That's something we need to watch out for a little bit more, I think. That's one of the things I think I should increase next in terms of difficulty on this game, but I'm not going to do it for a while yet, because a lot of the videos I've got now have been recorded quite a long time ago and have been sitting around waiting to be made into videos. But anyway, here's Romain Grosjean on lap 6. We're trying to go around the outside first, but then we switch back to the inside. We've lost a bit of speed there. We've given a warning for a collision with him for some reason. I don't remember touching him. Apparently when I got up to the back of him there, my front wing may have brushed his wheels, but there's no damage that I can see to either car. It does mean that we'll have to wait for another lap to get onto the back straightaway where my car's straight line speed will get us the advantage. There we go, up the inside, hard on the brakes, and there we go. We've kept it in the lines on that lap. Now we try to pull away as well as we went in behind the detection zone. That's one of the really good things about Canada, is usually you can go into detection zones behind people. Perez has come back at me though on lap 8, and I've had a little bit of a rough encounter with him, so I think I'm just going to let him go for now. There he goes. I can see one of the Ferraris of Sebastian Vettel out of his pit stop, his first pit stop. At least he may have another. On lap 8 though, or rather lap 9, as we come up the back straightaway, Perez is in our sights again. Didn't really need to do that. He'll duck into the pits as some other cars are getting ready for their stops as well. With all the other cars in the pit lane, we end up in second place for the time being. If I can keep this position, that would be excellent if other cars behind us still have to do one more stop. So I've come out just in front of Lewis Hamilton. We'll see if, like in Baku, we can make the one-stop strategy work here, despite the wear on the tires. Hamilton, though, is very good through this first sector here. It's a much more technical section than the rest of the track, so his Mercedes is about to, show its colors here. And because it's got the same good engine that my car has, there he goes around my outside on the middle straightaway here. So there he goes. We've lost that position and we're down to third, but it's not really our fight anyway. He's got a lot more pace in that car. On lap 11, though, we've finally found ourselves a bit of clear track. Looks like we are just about alone here. Hamilton pulling away into the distance, and Kimi Räikkönen in the Ferrari behind me. Not really a factor just yet. He's still, working on closing in, but in the middle stages of the race here, or rather, maybe closer to the, the end of the early stages of the race, I've got the track just about to myself. Kimi Räikkönen's pace, though, in that Ferrari will eventually have him catch up to me, and again, he will use that middle straight to pass me, as Lewis Hamilton did. On lap 14, Valtteri Bottas will also do the same, but he'll go up the inside this time. There he goes. I don't know if that's exactly a brave move, but it's unusual compared to what the other cars were doing in terms of trying to get past me. Here on lap 15, though, it is time for our one pit stop of the day to get onto the red super soft tires, not using hyper softs in the race here today. So we just need to get those on. Nice quick stop, 1.9 seconds. I think that's got to be a record of some kind. That's why I'm sticking with Williams for the time being, or one of them at least. But here we go, back out onto the track at the exit of the pit lane, around the outside of the first corner, and Perez has just got in front of us here. We've, been able to get in front of our teammate Stroll. A bit of contact with Perez, but nothing serious, I don't think. There we go, back onto the racing line. But like I said, you're out in front of Stroll, a full pit stop ahead of him. That's fine, though. Perez is the one who I'll be starting to worry about here. He'll be trying to close back in as we try to close in with Carlos Sainz, who is in 7th place in the best of the rest position in front of us. That's a position I definitely want for this race. So down into the hairpin once again, hard on the brakes. Slowly closing up to the back of him, but it's hard to spot a visual distance that we've closed in just yet. Here we go on lap 18. He's still a ways in front of us. Perez has kept us fairly honest. He's a bit close behind us. Not close enough for DRS yet, but still close enough to be a little bit of a threat, and I don't want to make mistakes. Because if I make anything serious, or any serious errors, he'll be right there on the back of me waiting to, pass me. Probably with DRS because his straight line speed. Here we go, though. by lap 19, we started to see the visual distance that I wanted. We're closing in on Sainz, and it's starting to be, a bit easier just to close in, I think. It's better now that I've got the reference point of his car. Here we go again, lap 20. He's very close now. I can see the yellow stripes on that Renault. On the back straightaway. I don't have DRS just yet, but I think at this distance I should be getting technically a little bit of slipstream, which should help me close in even more. Into the chicane at the end of the lap. Again, starting to have problems with corner cutting there in particular. Haven't had issues with it on the rest of the circuit or even other circuits in the game. But there we go. The little bit of slipstream that we did get has given us a purple final sector. I can see there coming out of the pits one of the Red Bulls. That'll be Max Verstappen, who's just come out of the pit lane there. In no time at all, he's on the back of us as we head up the back straightaway again. Again, I've got a better engine, so I should be able to get past Sainz very easily here. And I don't think Verstappen, having the same Renault as that car in front of us, same Renault engine, he shouldn't be able to get past nearly as easily. And there we go, around the outside into the chicane, at least the early part of it. Squeeze Sainz off there, and he gets a very compromised exit because of that, and Verstappen has easily managed to swoop around him. He's on my tail now. I want to keep 6th position though. I've gotten up that far, I've been fighting for it, I want to keep it. But Verstappen is still very pacey, of course. And now that things have become a bit cleaner between us, even as we bump wheels a bit there, we are still, able to, keep in front of him. But not for much longer, I don't think. Even though that Red Bull still has a Renault engine, remember this isn't 2019 where it has a Honda engine, he's still pretty quick. I've done some upgrades to that car. There's probably a lot of drag reduction as well that's helping him. But through there, we've managed to keep him behind, and now there's a massive gap. Hopefully that'll keep him busy for a little while. Eventually though, let's see, he's still closing in slowly, but it's going to take him a little bit longer. Radio message from Jeff.
Okay, some information on Bottas. They have an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Valtteri Bottas's bad luck apparently is continuing from last year. I don't know if it'll be the same, kind of problem as it was at this track last year. That was a puncture, and that allowed us to gain a position on him, very easily. But we'll just have to see if it's actually a major problem. We can see on lap 24 he's already lost a place to Daniel Ricciardo and the other Red Bull up in front of us. Ricciardo now up to 4th. And Verstappen's still very close to us here. Eventually he will get the job done. I'm actually suffering some wear on the engine, as this is the 7th race I've done with the same components here. We come right up to the back of him, probably a little bit of a tap there, but again, there's no big issues with us anymore, I don't think. But then again, he does have that 7th or 6th place off of us, and we are down to 7th. Trying to go up the inside, but he squeezes me onto the grass there, and unfortunately from there he's just going to waltz away with it. He's still pacey enough that in the technical sections of the track he is faster than me. Fortunately though, we are safe from any counter-attacks, as Esteban Ocon is the next car behind. And this is how the closing stages of the race work. Verstappen is trying to get after Bottas, but there is a little bit too much of a gap. I was trying to get on after him as well, but the problem with that gap was that, they never wound up fighting, so they didn't slow each other down. We come now to the final lap. Not as good as last year, but we'll still take 7th.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Here come our winning drivers then, out onto the podium at the end of a thrilling Grand Prix. The drama and excitement are over, and it's time to let it all sink in. Congratulations to our top 3 today.
So Sebastian Vettel will win the technically 2019 Canadian Grand Prix. And there's a number of things that are interesting about that. But that's all right. You have, Ferrari closing in on Red Bull at the top there, with both Ferraris on the podium, sharing it with Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. He's not had a good season so far as Hamilton. Daniel Ricciardo, I believe, will retain the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and Red Bull will retain the lead of the Constructors' Championship, but they've taken a major chunk out of it with Ferrari's good performance today. Sebastian Vettel is within 5 points rather, of Ricciardo. Hamilton a full win away, so both Verstappen and Vettel could DNF, and Hamilton with a win wouldn't catch them. For us, though, we've retained 4th in the constructors, 7th in the drivers, and we're looking good here. Up next will be France, another track with a lot of straight lines, so we should be looking good there. Thank you very much for watching this episode, and as always, have a nice day.